Hello and welcome to the Lift Your Spirits Mystery Crochet Along live stream for week 4. I'm super excited about today's chat because I am going to be sharing all sorts of Halloween inspired indie dyed yarns. So welcome if you're joining me in the live stream. I've got 13 different indie dyers that I'm going to be sharing today who all have some kind of current Halloween collection. So when coming up with this topic, I was trying to figure out how exactly I wanted to approach this. I've been trying to keep these Saturday live streams about the crochet along Halloween inspired. And I thought about going through my stash because I do have a lot of Halloween inspired indie dyed yarns in my stash. But I realized that could be frustrating if these yarns are no longer available. So I will share a favorite indie dyer of mine, well, two at least, and then some new to me indie dyers that have Halloween collections that are on sale currently that you could get today. So I hope you guys will hang out with me and see what I have to share, as well as if you're in the live stream and we get through these indie dyers, if there's time at the end, you can shout out some of your favorite indie dyers and we can go check out their pages. So today's layout's going to be a little different than usual because it is kind of like, we can call it live shopping, right? I'm going to be sharing screens to these companies' web pages, so you might need to bear with me on the technical side of things. So it looks like we have Cindy with us this morning. Good morning, Cindy. Thanks for joining the live stream. And M560, great to see you again. Good evening from Europe. I do have an indie dyer to share that has Halloween yarns in Europe. They ship to the United States as well, so I'm super excited. Super excited for this live. I am too. I'm excited to have you here. It's basically going to be like shopping together. So before we get into the indie dyers and their pages that I want to share, I was going to share my favorite Halloween inspired indie dyer, who is Knitty and Color. So she has been in the indie dyeing industry for a long time. I know her Etsy, which is where she sells her yarns online. She also does shows, you know, when they're going on. She's been on Etsy since 2009. I don't think I discovered her until at least 2013, 2014. But so she's one of the first Halloween yarn dyers that I've found. And you can get Halloween inspired yarn in her shop 24/7, which is something that is amazing. Of course, she goes big around Halloween as well, but year round you can get her yarn. And it's frequently what my friends will gift me are her Halloween colorways as well. I knit a pair of socks out of her Walking with a Ghost colorway a couple years ago, and I absolutely love it. She does a lot of very bright saturated colorways outside of Halloween as well, and she does a lot of really good traditional Halloween colorways, which is why I fell in love with this one. So I did want to share that. I don't know if she's currently dyeing Walking with a Ghost, but I have seen it more than just the year that it came out. And then real quick before we get into the pages as well, I have my Mesa Skeins Halloween yarn that I bought last year, and we'll be talking about her today as well. She's a newer yarn dyer, but her Halloween collections are amazing. And this one is from last year. This is Monster Mash on her Diamond DK. I haven't made anything with it yet, but that doesn't mean I won't. I like to have a nice little Halloween collection to pick from throughout the year because you can't always get Halloween yarns year round. I know Mace of Skeins only has her Halloween collection during the Halloween season. So yes, let's see here. Good morning, Kat. Good afternoon from Southern Maine. And good morning, Lacey. Good afternoon, beautiful fiber friends. Oh, look at all those Halloween emojis. Yes. Oh, I missed the name of the dyer you are talking about. This one is Knitty and Color, and we're going to be getting to her page in a minute. Love the color and the sparkle is probably the Mace of Skeins. This one is also on a sparkle base. This is her Glam Rock Sparkle sock. It's hard to get sparkle to show up in video, but I love a good sparkle base. And these are both the silver Stellina, which I really enjoy. I like the gold too. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first indie dyer that I have to share today, which is Knitty and Color. Unfortunately, her shop is on a break, so I can't share her shop with you. So I'm going to take you to her Instagram because it gives you a really good feel of her colorways, her vibes, and you can also see the things that she's posting that are most likely currently available. Good morning, Kim. I saw you sneak in there. And good morning, VJ. Thank you for joining the live. Uh, so her shop does say, Knitty and Color shop does say that she's returning from a break, I think either today or tomorrow. So you'll just have to hold off for a day. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I'm like, there's something I wanted to say. I have all of these indie dyers linked in the description box below, their website and their Instagram. That way, if you're not really in a place to be purchasing yarn, you can still go follow them on Instagram so that maybe in the future, when you are ready to buy some indie dyed yarns, they're right in front of you and you can see what they've got going on. It's a great way to support these small companies, unlike big yarn companies that have large marketing budgets. Indie dyers, they rely on organic reach, and it's a tough, brutal world out there. So if you can follow them on social and share their socials, that's the best thing to do if you can't quite start supporting them monetarily. Okay, let's see if I can figure out this sharing the web page thing. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so this is Knitty and Color's Instagram, and she does have a link in her bio right up here where it'll take you to her Etsy. But like I said, it's on a break, so there's not really anything to look at. But what I love about Knitty and Color's Halloween colorways is like immediately on her Instagram feed, it screams Halloween. And it's like this, like I said, mostly throughout the year. It's not just this time of year. And it's just these bright, deeply saturated colors, very traditional, as well as something that's a little different, right? So she's got this one here that is a full skein with the mini skein sets. This is a great sock set. You can also use those kind of sets for shawls as well, where you've kind of got your main color and you stripe some smaller stripes throughout. But I mean, look at the saturation in those minis. I love it so much. I have bought a mini skein set from her that was Halloween inspired that came with colors similar to that orange, green, and purple picture you're seeing there. I got like a green, an orange, and then some variegateds that are a little more similar to like what you see on the right here. This one, where it's got that solid with gaps of variegated that are going to give you almost this, depending on the space that it's dyed in the hank, you'll either get micro stripes or you're going to get something that pulls a little bit. Let me go ahead and go back to full screen because this is exactly what happens. This right here. You get like this pooling, swirling of colorways where you have like this variegated and then it would be like black instead of the orange and black solid. It's almost like an intentional pooling or even micro striping. It all depends on your gauge, of course, but I really, really enjoy that type of dye style. And 560. I've never bought hand-dyed yarn before. I always find it hard to gauge how the color will work up. Yeah, it can be difficult, especially when you're first starting to work with hand-dyed yarns, to know exactly what it's going to work up with, like, and if you're going to like it. My best advice there is to see if the yarn you're looking for, if it's either on Ravelry, you can look at projects made with it, or sometimes on the indie dyers socials, they'll have been tagged or even share projects of their yarn being worked up for you to get an idea. But after a while, you get used to like, oh, this dye style works up like this. But so Knitty and Color, she also dyes fiber, and she does an amazing job. It is not easy to dye fiber for spinning because it's very easy to felt. Quite a different process. You have to be a little slower and more careful. I have loved every single one of the braids of fiber that I've gotten from her. I even bought at a show, gosh, 2014 maybe. I went to South, I don't even remember, Southeast Fiber Arts Alliance. I'm butchering the name of that festival. She was vending at the show, and I bought these gorgeous bright orange with sparkle rolags that she had done. Absolutely gorgeous as well. I just love all of her. I love her dye aesthetic. Like I said, it's kind of Halloween 24/7, which is also my favorite thing. And she does these bright saturated colors. So not just like, even out of my normal wheelhouse, I'm not a fan of pink, but she does these great, like that one, those great vibrant peaks with the black. Like, that's where she gets me. She throws black into almost everything, and I just absolutely love it. Love it. And you can see she does a lot of fiber. I love the spinning fiber. And so scrolling back through her feed on Instagram, we're getting back into pre-Halloween times, but you can still see she carries that same kind of vibe all year. So that is the first indie dyer that I highly recommend if you're looking for Halloween inspired yarns and colorways. She is definitely a very experienced indie dyer with amazing Halloween inspired colorways across yarn and fiber. You really can't go wrong. I mean, look at that deep saturation of color there on that deep burgundy. I love it so much. This is not something that I've seen a lot of other indie dyers doing. And as we go through the indie dyeing, their web pages and their colorways, you're going to start to see quickly, if you're not used to buying a lot of indie dyed yarns, each dyer has their own style. They have their own palettes. They have their own favorite way about approaching color on yarn. So this is why you may hear people talking about their favorites, because their personal favorite colors and styles align with the dyers. So this is how you get all sorts of hyped up. So that is Knitty and Color. And like I said, I've got her website and her Instagram linked down below. So let's move on to my second. Oh, real quick, it looks like I got, does that deep saturated color stay even after washing? Yes, it does. So she does a great job of making sure the color is set and washing the yarn before she sells it, so that when it does come into your hands, it's not bleeding. I do know that certain black yarns have an issue with what's called crocking. I have not experienced that with her yarn. So I don't know if there's some super special secret, or maybe I just don't have the oils in my hands that cause that crocking to happen. I don't know exactly, but out of the colorways of hers that I've worked with, and this Walking with a Ghost has black in it. This contrasting color for the heel is a different yarn, but this one, that is a dark black. There was no bleeding, no crocking, no nothing. Like, she does a fabulous job. I highly recommend her colorways. So let's move on to my next indie dyer, who their yarn is new to me, but I've got them up next because they're a place that you can get Halloween yarn year-round as well. So this is the website for gamer crafting. And I recently bought one of their Level Up boxes, and I cannot wait for it to show up. It is ghost inspired, so you know I had to have it. But outside of their boxes, they also offer a nice collection of Halloween colorways. So coming over to their website, you can see immediately the shift in style. Not as much black, brighter Halloween. Like right here, this Demon Blood Halloween yarn. There's no black, but there is full, bright saturation of your orange and purple. There is a little bit of black in this one too, but again, it's like a brighter version instead of a darker version, which it's really nice to have that contrast, especially when you're working on multiple colors in a project. If you don't want the entire project to be so dark and not contrasting, you get something like I think from Knitty and Color that's got that deep dark color to it, with something like this from Gamer Crafting that's nice and bright and is going to pop against that dark colorway. Lacey says, oh, I have been stalking Gamer Crafting on Instagram. She is super fun. Yes, her Instagram is a blast. She does a lot of really funny Instagram reels, which I think is how I ended up finding her account in the first place. So definitely recommend giving her a follow at a bare minimum. And you may notice that these prices are in euros. So she is in Europe. So she does ship to the United States, obviously, though, because I did buy a Level Up box. So if you're in Europe, this is probably a little lower to pay for shipping versus like me in the United States. But hand-dyed yarn is so unique. I often find that it's worth it if you have to pay a little extra for shipping outside of your country. Um, so I love the classic names of her colorways as well. Jack-o'-lantern Halloween, Necromantic Witch. Now, outside of their Halloween collection, there is also a lot of D&D inspired colorways. There's a whole witch collection on their website as well. But since we were focusing on Halloween today, I wanted to stick to their Halloween collection on their website. Draconic Witch, you got those nice greens and purples. Slurm Queen semi-solid. I love this colorway. It's like a minty, it's almost that color you get before a color glows in the dark. I love it. And then this electric purple. These solids go so, or semi-solids, go so well with the variegated yarns that are offered. And I always appreciate when indie dyers do this, because if you don't want a full variegated project, you can stripe with a solid to get something that's a little more cohesive. Scrying Pool Halloween self-striping hand-dyed yarn. I love it. I love their colorways so much. And I think this is a great place to come looking if you're looking for some Halloween yarn, especially 24/7. If it's not spooky season and you were just dying for some Halloween yarn, this is a place you can come to get it. Oh, those are pounds. Yes, sorry. Okay, so on to the next indie dyer that I wanted to share. It is Mesa Skeins. You may be aware of her yarn. It is pretty popular and can sell out pretty quickly. She just launched an amazing fall and Halloween collection. The only thing is she does do this just for spooky season. So like the Monster Mash that I shared at the beginning of the video, that was a Halloween yarn from last year that is not available this year. So that is something to keep in mind when you are looking to get Halloween yarn and you're planning for projects. You have to make sure you get enough because it may not be something you can get again. So I wasn't able to find a way on her website to just show the Halloween yarn. So all of her yarn is mixed in with her Halloween collection, but the Halloween collection does stand out. So Dragon Scales up here in the upper right is this nice variegated, like it's variegated, but the colors blend so nicely into each other. It's not gonna look so harsh when it's worked up, of these nice autumnal reds, pinks, and oranges. Right below it is my favorite colorway that she came out with for this Halloween collection, which is Eye of Newt. Now, if you don't follow Mace of Skeins or are not subscribed to her channel, go follow her and subscribe. She did a full video sharing the collection, and she has some samples made up out of these colorways, so you know exactly what they're going to work up like. And that is how Eye of Newt instantly became my favorite. She has a hat sample worked up out of that green, and it's got just these subtle flecks of orange that are worked up throughout the hat that I absolutely love. Yeah, Eye of Newt. I haven't seen a colorway quite like this one, not with the orange like that. And just the change in the depth of shade, really that play in color value, it looks so good when it's worked up. Right in the middle, you've got a classic pumpkin spice colorway, heavy on the light on the pumpkin, heavy on the spice. I really enjoy how different dyers take inspiration from the same name, but their own flavor, they add their own flavor to it. Raven's Feathers is a gorgeous one as well. I think this one would work up really nicely into a sweater or a garment, because at a first glance, it mostly looks like a semi-solid color that's all the same. But once you get up close to it, it actually has multiple colors in it. They're just all dark and blend together so well. I think this one would be a great way to get a dark garment into your wardrobe without working with complete solid black, which can be hard to knit and crochet with. It is hard to see. So I think this would be a fun way to work with a dark color that's a little easier to see, that still gives you something that easily fits into your wardrobe, especially a witchy type wardrobe. Lacey says, Macy even introduced crochet-friendly sock sets that come with 2 minis this time. Yes, that is something that I have seen Macy as well as a few other indie dyers doing, adding another contrasting yarn because crochet does take more. One hank with a mini is not typically enough to crochet a pair of socks for someone who has a normal adult-sized foot. If you have small feet, you may get away with it, but for the most part, you need a little extra. So that is great that that Macy offers that as well as other indie dyers. And the sets, right? Like right in the middle is the Harvest Skein set. I love it so much. And I don't know if I click on this, will it open more? Some websites open a new tab, and so I wasn't sure how that was going to work trying to get this full screen for you guys. Normally in advance, I will create a slideshow presentation so I can make the pictures as like super big, but it just wasn't going to work out this time because I wanted to make sure that if I prepared it too far in advance and then things weren't available. We're just doing this live. Yes, 5 skein set fall collection. This is great for large quantity projects. If you want a faded sweater, if you want a faded shawl, I love when dyers put together collection sets. I guess I might as well just go back. There we go. But yeah, so she's got Ghoul, Happy Camper, skipping around the other ones. Book of Spells is another gorgeous, deep color that I think would be great for a dark garment. Pumpkin Patch is another 5 skein set for fall. We've got Vintage Witch, which is right up my alley. It's like a pastel goth witch. I love it. There's Cauldron, a variegated silver, black, and purple. There is a Hocus Pocus inspired set. Pumpkin Latte. So this one's a little heavier on the pumpkin and the cream, not so much the spice like her other colorway. And this is where you can see the sock set, Vintage Witch sock set with 2 minis instead of just the one. So it does work for crochet. And I'll see if there's any more Halloween colorways on this page here. Yes, so we're getting into Witch's Brew a sock set. So I actually have a sock pattern that is not released yet that I named Witch's Brew. I love it so much. But yes, this nice green and the highlight minis. And then you're getting into some of the reverse resist colorways, which are so pretty. This jack-o'-lantern Halloween collection. I actually have some yarn in stash that looks very similar to this, a little bit different, of course, because each dyer has their own style. But these colors that are dyed like that work up so cool because it's like a reverse speckling. Typically, you have a mostly white base with flecks of color. This is reverse. It's completely black with flecks of a bright, vibrant color. And in this case, it's orange. That's going to work up so cool, whether it's knitting or crochet. And I think I have some pictures later in some of the other indie dyers who have used a similar technique. They have actual swatches of what that dye style works up like. So it looks like Marshland, Pumpkin Spice sock set, Spooky Mini Skein. Okay, how perfect are those colors for the Spooky Mini Skein? And there have been both knitting and crochet color work Halloween patterns coming out that I've seen that are adorable. These sets would be perfect for that if you've got a solid color for the body and you need some Halloween pops of color. It's perfect. Same with the fall. You could do color work in a fall theme set of colors versus a Halloween theme set of colors. Cat's Eye is just like the jack-o'-lantern one, but with green instead. I'm telling you, if you haven't worked with yarn dyed up in this style, it is one of the coolest things that you can work with. And I think that is the rest of her Halloween and fall collection. Let's see. I've got, did I not click that? There we go. Oh, Lacey says, oh, I love the gold colorway. It is mesmerizing. Yes, the black and the white and the gray, it's going to work up very spooky and beautifully. Have you ever tried dyeing yarn, Amanda? I have. It is not as easy as some people make it look. It takes time and experience and practice to get the results that you want. Like, there is so much more than just dye a bond and heat. It's water messes with the whole thing. Too much, too little. Having if you're using acid dyes, which is what most indie dyers use, if you've got that at what point you add that to the process changes the way, how quickly you add the heat. There's just so many things that go into it that it is these people that I'm sharing their businesses with you are extremely talented. I am nowhere near any of their levels. I have very little experience. It's fun. It's fun. I like to do it around Easter with Easter egg dyes, especially because it's food safe and you don't have to worry about having all of the protective equipment and specific equipment. But yeah, I have tried it. It is hard. It's not easy. Lacey, I got the Book of Spells to make a bralette for my sister. I got the Vintage Witch sock set to make myself some socks, and Vintage Witch was the first one that really grabbed me. Yeah, the Vintage Witch is a beautiful, beautiful colorway. I think that you're going to have some gorgeous Halloween projects, Lacey. All right, that is going to take us on to our third indie dyer. Now, the rest of the indie dyers are companies that I have not purchased from, but I went researching to find where can we get Halloween colors today. Like I said, I didn't want to share my favorites that are mostly no longer available. So I wanted to make sure whatever I was sharing with you guys today, you could actually get your hands on if you wanted to, because it's spooky season. It's time, if you want to, it is time to start grabbing those Halloween yarns and start making Halloween projects before it's too late. We're quickly approaching October. So the next one that I found was Blue Barn Fiber. Let's make it even bigger. There we go. Blue Barn Fiber on Etsy, and this is a indie dye company out of Idaho. And this caught my eye right away, right up here. This is glow-in-the-dark spinning fiber. Now, I recently had a friend send me a link to some because somebody they follow on Instagram was spinning with it, and they blended just the tiniest amount into their project, and their bobbin in progress was literally glowing. What a fun way to make your own glow-in-the-dark yarn if you're a spinner like I am. So right away, I was like, well, I'm going to be sharing this business specifically because they have glow-in-the-dark fiber, but also look at these colorways. I'm going to have to figure out how to just click on them and make them bigger because we've got to see them up close. This is gorgeous. This is Swamp Thing. Can we make it bigger? Yes, make it bigger. This is such a gorgeous colorway, and I love the photography as well. So you are getting the Swamp Thing, deep and dark and spooky, and I love that it's not completely dark. There are areas where it's light, so you're gonna get nice contrast in your colorway with this one as well. And let's go back. Lacey, OMG, I loved watching Swamp Thing when I was a really little girl. Yeah, it is a classic. See, there we go. I really enjoy the way that they dyed up Pumpkinhead as well. What I really love about this one, and let's see if we can see it in its form here with a lighter background so you can see that pop. This isn't just orange. It has that great blend between like a yellow and an orange with the deep speckles, but it's not overly speckled. It's just in a couple areas. I really like this type of dye style where it's not going to pull specifically the speckles, and you can see it twisted up in the hank there. The speckles are not all the same distance in all of the same spaces, and you can also see it, that hank opened up there on the right. It's kind of splattered all over, which means when you're working with that yarn, those speckles are not going to keep showing up in the same spot. So if you look, there are more speckles on the outside of the hank than the inside of the hank, which means you, with this one specifically that's opened, and of course hand-dyed yarns, each hank is unique to itself, which is even more fun. But this one that's opened up on the right with all of the black heavy speckles on the top, and you can see it's kind of folded up under above that pumpkin in the image there, and there's no speckles, it's just orange, but you can see how that hank has been twisted up. That's the inside. Once you cake that up, it means one end of your yarn is going to be heavily speckled and the other end is going to have less speckles. This is why working with indie dyed yarn is so fun, and you get such unique results from hank to hank, from project to project. So I not only love the colorways, but I also love the dye style on this one. VJ, try control click. I might have to do that. Yeah, that might work better for me. I've got all my tabs and you can see them open at the top too of all of the indie dyers. So I'm trying not to lose the ones I already have opened as well. That's gorgeous. This dyer knows what they're doing. Yes, absolutely. You can tell I don't have the skills to dye a colorway like this. Absolutely not. This takes lots of practice, experience, and skill. So back to, and okay, so there's Spellbound up here, which is going to be closer to the Swamp Thing, but with more purples and reds and yellows. But also they have Nightmare Before Christmas inspired yarn, and that gets me every time too. Look at Jack. It's a little bit of a different take on Jack because it's got this soft lavender in it as it's loading, but it's gorgeous. This dye style, you're looking at another similar dye style to that pumpkin head that I showed you of theirs already. And this is what I like about going from indie dyer to indie dyer is the different styles that they use. There we go. That is gorgeous. And the way this is dyed, again, you can see there's not complete lined stops of color. You can see on that open hank, and I really appreciate it with when indie dyers share photos like this, where you can see it hanked up and you can see the hank open. That's seeing an open hank. It gives an insight into the way the indie dyer dyed their yarn, which I know a lot of people like to share that, but also it gives the buyer an insight into how the yarn is going to work up, because those colors blend into each other at different spots in that circle hank. This is going to be one that does not pool and instead gives you that watercolor look of colors blending into each other. Now, of course, it's going to look different when you knit it versus crochet it, depending on which crochet stitch you use. Some stitches are taller and use more distance of a yarn, so that might cause the colors to block a little bit because you're stretching that color vertically instead of horizontally, but still it's gonna blend from color to color even though you're messing with that height. Amanda, that Jack yarn is dreamy, isn't it? I would have never thought to put purple in the Jack yarn, but I'm in love. Yes, look at the Jack. It's so unique to any other Jack colorway. Absolutely, I have seen. It is difficult to get the dark to light range of colors like that. Yes, this, like I said, I don't know enough about dyeing, but this has to do with color and heat and control, and this is just gorgeous. This dyer knows what they're doing. And let's look at the two together here. There is the Jack, and then there is the Sally above. She nailed Sally. She nailed Sally's dress, absolutely. Those colors are spot on, and the little black speckling throughout to, give a little bit of that stitching appearance to it. I think this dyer nailed these Halloween colorways so much. I was very, very, very impressed. And again, if you're just now joining, this is Blue. We'll go back up to the top. This is Blue Barn Fiber on Etsy. I do have a link to their shop and their Instagram in the description box of this video. I think there's just a couple other Halloween colorways that I wanted to share. This is so fun, this dye technique and the way this works up. Kim, I love Jack, but the combo of Jack and Sally is crazy. Yeah, I probably wouldn't work them together in the same project, but I would definitely buy them together and save them for two separate projects. So this one right there, this one glows in black light. How amazing. And look at how it's just a dip. So this is going to work up almost like the resist speckles, but it's such a longer distance that it's going to work up as spots in your work. If it's knitting, it's going to be long lines of color, and if it's crochet, it's going to be spots. I love this dye technique, and if you look here, it's not just one solid orange, it's this lovely, lovely blend of like a yellowy light orange into a deeper red orange. Gosh, their yarn is gorgeous. So if you're looking for Halloween yarn, I think that this Blue Barn fiber is a great place to go looking. And then, of course, they've got other yarns that are not Halloween inspired mixed into the whole thing. Same type of dye styles, these palindromes, these beautiful dips on top of a solid color. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. Yeah. Okay, so that is Blue Barn Fiber or Blue Barn Fiber Arts. Lacey, I love hand dyed so much. Me too. That's why this topic was just right up my alley. Hand dyed and Halloween, that is my favorite combination. Okay, so the next indie dyer I wanted to share is also on Etsy. This is Turtle Purl Yarns, and this is a Canadian dyer. So anyone up in Canada, this is local to you, and you won't have to pay any extra for shipping like the rest of us in the United States or in other countries. But I do love some good Canadian dyed yarn. I have been up to Knit City in the past to get my hands on some, and yeah, there are some lovely dyers up there. So what's fun about their Halloween colorways, oh, and let me take this down, they've got self-striping. Now, these swatches are worked up in knit, but the cool thing is that depending on the stitch that you use in crochet, you can go ahead and get away with the similar dye or a similar striping sequence. So if you're crocheting socks out of a single crochet, you should still be able to get this striping sequence that's maybe not as quite as thick, but it should still work up. How gorgeous. And self-striping yarn is even harder to dye. I've dyed self-striping yarn. It is not an easy thing to do whatsoever. It takes a lot of time. It's easy to mess up. It's easy to tangle. So I definitely admire anyone who dyes self-striping yarn. It does cost more because it is a lot more work, but the results are worth it, especially for socks. Now, something like a hat is not going to quite stripe up the same sequence. What happens is it's a predetermined length that's dyed these colors, and it's usually based on knitting socks. So if you're going to be crocheting, it's going to be a little bit different. And if you're making something that has a larger circumference, that color is not going to stretch as far. So it doesn't always translate into other projects, but you can always play and have fun if you want. Jessica, loving the Halloween yarn, right? I'm so excited. I spend all my money on Halloween yarn. Oh, I would combine them, a mitered pattern with black and lavender blocks in between. You're talking about the Nightmare Before Christmas yarn. Yeah, I think. And oh, I have drooled over their yarn for some time now. Turtle Purl, yes. I love the self-striping yarns. And this one is Bewitching, khaki green heel and toe skein. Let's go back. And then this is your more traditional black, orange, green. Oh, look at the saturation on that black. That is not an easy thing to do. Look at that. I love that so much. And it almost like the photos almost look like it is in a black light, like that contrast. And here you can see the socks knit up. So they're not solid lines like, let's go back to this one. Solid lines because that's completely knit in stockinette, right? This is what it looks like if you add a little bit of texture. So across the top of that sock there are some pearls, and I can't really tell. It almost looks like there's maybe some yarn overs, some small holes there, but it's so pretty. The Brew Halloween Fun hand-dyed self-striping sock. yarn. I love it so much. So if you guys knit, or if you want, even if you crochet socks, like I said, if you're using a short enough stitch that gives you a gauge similar to a knit sock, you will get a striping sequence just like this. Lacey says, I was thinking that Jack and Sally would be beautiful all striped in together. For me, I would have had to add a solid in between to break them up. Black with bright gets me every time. I'm the exact same way. This just to me screams Halloween. You don't even need to know the colorway name to just know that it's a Halloween inspired yarn. And the orange toes, that's what's really fun here. Yeah, they cast on with the orange and then started up. Absolutely love it. I think they just had the 2 Halloween striping colorways. I didn't miss any, right? Yep, those 2. But then if you keep looking on their page, I think, yeah, that's the brew and this is the brew. I think they're just different listings, whether they come with the contrasting color or not. But they also have other beautiful colorways of self-striping yarn. You can really fall into rabbit holes with these self-striping indie dyers. This takes so much time and skill, you guys. I can't not even emphasize that enough. So that was Turtle Purl Yarns. Don't they have Star Trek colorways? They might. Let me see if their little section here says. Can I? Oh, I don't have my mouse because I don't have enough USB ports on my laptop to do the microphone, the camera, and a mouse. So they might. I'm not super familiar with Turtle Purl yarns. Some of these indie dyers that I found yesterday when I was searching, I literally just found them and started following them. So the next one, how can you not have Halloween yarn when your name is Candy Corn Yarns? So this is Candy Corn Yarns on Etsy, and this is specialty yarns hand dyed in the Caribbean or Caribbean. And they have candy corn yarn. Of course they do. Of course, Candy Corn Yarns has a candy corn colorway. Look at that. This is going to knit up or crochet up. So fun. So this one, the best way to tell if you're going to get what they call micro stripes, and it's especially something that's done when you knit a sock in the round, is how much of that hank has the color. And so you can see this one has a hard line at the same point there between that black and that yellow. So this one is going to pool the same, pretty much the same throughout, because your distance of the candy corn is the same throughout the entire hank of yarn. So this is a specific pooling that you, on I think a knit sock, you might get the not quite a micro stripe. I don't think that candy corn is a long enough distance to be a micro stripe, which would be getting around the entire circumference of the sock one time. I think it's just short. So you'd have that traveling stripe, which is kind of like what goes on in my sock. I'm glad I have this sock with me today. It's longer sections here, but the stripe travels because the distance is not enough to do a full set of stripes. And then also this one wasn't a hard line, so it drifts. But yeah. And if you missed the beginning of the live, this is Knitty and Color's Walking with the Ghost colorway. And I did talk about her, so you can catch that on the replay. So back to the candy corn yarn. I do think you'd get kind of that drifting candy corn stripe along your sock if you were knitting with it with crochet. Again, it depends on the circumference of your project, whether you're working flat, whether you're working in the round, how much increasing is going on. It's all going to change. Same type of dye style, different colors. This is the, I don't think there's it's called Trick or Treat. There we go. You know, with Etsy, you have to be very specific in your titles to grab those keywords. So sometimes it can be hard to find the name of the yarn. But yeah, this is the exact style. So this colorway is going to work up the same, just with different colors. You get the traditional green, purple, and orange up against that black. I think this is really fun. This is what it looks like twisted up. It's absolutely beautiful. And talking about the candy corn, the only candy corn I like, LOL, yeah, I do not like candy corn candy either. It just tastes like waxy sugar. I don't like it. And the yellow back on that candy corn was gorgeous. Yellow is a difficult color to nail. I typically don't like yellow. It's that yellow. It's like a bright highlighter, beautiful, beautiful work. I don't think they have a Halloween section, just the kind of Halloween pops. And so to know too, indie dyers, they vary in size of their company, how much stock they have. And so how large a company's collection is will vary. Some companies can only come out with a small Halloween collection, like 1 or 2 colorways, because of they might just be starting out. They might have a smaller stock. They might still be building their business. So that is something to keep in mind, because it looks like the rest of what's in stock here are some other, oh wait, nope, here's another one, Season of the Witch. Oh, look at that. Now we've looked at a lot of purple, orange, and green colorways today, and none of them look the same. Completely different style than some of the other indie dyers that we've looked at. So this one does not have an actual black in there, but it does kind of have that semi-solid look to it, a tonal look within the colorways. I'd love a picture of this one opened up to really see that depth of color, but still, even twisted up, this is a really pretty colorway, and it's going to be one of your more heavily variegated colorways. Let me see, that would make such a great hat. I definitely agree with this one. They are striking colors, and it is one. It's like a very fall Halloween. I don't know if that makes sense. That's how I look at it. Let's just go ahead and check on the other page to see if I missed any. Just beautiful stocks of other colorways as well. So that is Candy Corn Yarns. I've still got 7 more indie dyers to get through, you guys. I am not going fast enough. I really love the Season of the Witch yarn. Yes, the Season of the Witch was a gorgeous colorway. Now this one is just a set that I found. And I found this one through looking up Halloween yarn on Instagram. So this is Vida Lifestyle. Again, I will have the link to the website down below and the Instagram down below. But it is I Put a Spell on You, and there are 3 different options. So let's look at this one, this candle real quick, because the background photo has the yarn opened up. Make it bigger. Can we make it bigger? It says plus, but it's not making it any bigger. Well, that's not very fun. But you guys can see it kind of small there. So this one is for the candle, but this is the colorway in the back, and you can see it nice and opened up, and it just blends beautifully. And if we go back, this same yarn is available as a sock set or for a hat. So I know I saw pictures of, or yes, here is the hat. I wish I could make these photos bigger, like it's zooming in, but just on the tiny part. So this one is one that's actually striping up on the hat. Look at that. That is amazing. Here's a better picture of the hat. A self-striping hat. Well, it's kind of pooling, right? But still, it's absolutely gorgeous. So it's not your super traditional colorways. It is very like I Put a Spell on You. It is very hocus pocus witchy vibe type colors, bright, saturated. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Lacey, you can't rush window shopping for indie dyed. You really can't. Is that hat knit? Let's see. Hat pattern Pika Summer Beanie by Whimsy. Yes, it is a knit hat. It's gorgeous. I love it so much. And if we go back, the one in the middle is the sock set. Now here are the socks worked up. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about micro striping. So that this yarn is not dyed the same way like a self-striping yarn is dyed. It is instead dyed in that hank. Well, you know what? I could be wrong. I don't want to speak because that hat might actually be specially dyed. But this is what I call a micro striping, and I don't think that they have to go out of their way to self-stripe dye this one, but I could be wrong. But I really, really like the way that it works up. Isn't that crazy to see the difference between the hank of yarn and then the socks themselves? Yeah, you can see the way that this is wound. It is a micro striping yarn. Self-striping yarns, they end up having to be rewound, and it's different. But I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I love the little drip down the top. So these are all yarns here. This is a pre-order and will ship at the end of October. So yeah, this is just the one Halloween colorway that I found from this Dyer. So again, I put that in the description box below. So if you guys are interested in pre-ordering, that is down below. Look at the top of those socks. I know, right? Just a little bit of color work, but it makes such a difference. It's super, super cute. All right, next, Indie Dyer. Cricket Yarn Company. Now, this is so gorgeous. I love, love, love this collection. So I am on their website specifically under their Halloween colorways. Some dyers have their Halloween collections in a specific category, and I could do this, which I super appreciate. So let's take a look at Haunted Rave. Look at that. So this is that resist dyed reverse speckles that I just absolutely love. It's just a couple pops. It's just a couple pops of Halloween colors in the black. I would make a cardigan out of this. I would make a hat, a cowl, socks. I would literally make anything out of this colorway. Haunted Rave, I think. Look at that, dyed on the bulky base. I really appreciate when dyers do this as well. And again, it depends on the scale of the company, but seeing the colors across different bases, like this is what it looks like on a bulky base versus this one looks more like a worsted or a DK base, where this one, they're all just kind of different. This one looks more like a fingering weight base, a sock base. Oh, Haunted Rave, I am buying you. Yeah, this is a really, really pretty one. Let's go back to Halloween. Grunge is sold out, so I don't know if we should spend too much time looking at that one. I love it. Is super grungy. It definitely is giving me zombie vibes. Greens, purples, oranges. Oh, I love this one so much. But it is sold out, so we will move on. Oh, and in the listing it said Halloween is my absolute favorite holiday. You can tell. You can tell when an indie dyer's favorite holiday comes up. They come out with the most spectacular colorways. Look at these speckles. Again, orange, purple, and black. We've been seeing this across these indie dyers companies, and this looks unlike anyone else's. You get to see everyone's different style. So this is Cackle. And it's going to be a fun, variegated, speckled colorway when it works up. Lacey, Halloween grunge is probably my fave of the day. I'm so sorry it's sold out. I have her Instagram link down below. Give her a follow. Maybe she'll restock before Halloween. I should say he or she. I don't know who is the dyer behind this company. Cackle. It's a yummy one. I love how you can see this company's style throughout all of the colorways. Spooky Soup, how fun. Spooky Soup. We've got like gray and this green and orange with a purple. I love this. This one is definitely a color that would be great for a contrast against the black, right? It keeps you in the deep, dark, grungy. I think this one would have been gorgeous with the one that was sold out too, the Halloween grunge, those two together. It's closer to a semi-solid, even though it's got the more than one color in it, and it's on the lighter side of things. It's a lighter colored, so it's gonna pair well against those darker for a multiple colored project. Let's go back, and we've got Alien Arena. This is toxic, right? Look at how toxic looking that green is with that pop against that purple. I just love this style. Half fluorescent green and half bluish purple with black speckles throughout. Definitely giving alien extraterrestrial vibes for this colorway. And it looks like there's 3 DK left in stock, so you can check to see what exactly is in stock. The great thing about buying from stock is they ship a lot faster than orders to dye. Then the last colorway in their collection is Crypt Keeper. Look at this. This is a great contrast against something like that bright alien. So Crypt Keeper is a black and brown semi-solid colorway. It looks simple, but has depth. Absolutely. I love her descriptions on these colorways, or their descriptions on this colorways. I love it so much. So that's Crypt Keeper, and that is this year's Halloween collection from Cricket Yarn Co. Moving on to the next indie dyer, I have Cape May Fiber. And this is on their own website. And this is under their Halloween collection section. It is linked down below. This is another new to me dyer. I found them through #HalloweenYarn on Instagram. And they've got a fun variety, and they have kits. Broom Riding Cowl DK Weight Knitting Kit. They've got Charm Mitt Fingering Weight Kit. Moonlit Romp DK Kit. They've got Broom Riding Socks Kit, and fingering for the socks, and then the one up here must be a different weight. Maybe it's just a different colorway kit. But yeah, so they've got kits that go with the specific Halloween-inspired patterns. Let's just go ahead and pull up that romper real quick and take a look at it. Oh, Moonlit Romp. It's not a romp. Romper is not the right word. It's a sweater. That is absolutely gorgeous. The color work. Is there a close-up picture of the yoke? Look at that. We've got moon and stars, and oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. So this is just the pattern. But it looked like they had kits as well. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's pull up, because I do want to get to the rest of the dyers that I wanted to share today without going on for like 5 hours. I didn't realize I could literally go live talking about Halloween indie dyed yarn for like a whole day probably. So we've got Haunted Lighthouse sock. Look at that. My gosh. Full Moon DK. Let's click on that one. Look at that color inspiration. That's the photo, and the yarn nailed it. Absolutely nailed the inspiration on that one. I really enjoy when dyers like Cape May Fiber use photos for inspiration, and it really shows you their skill when the yarn is next to the photo. It absolutely matches. I'm not even going to try to pronounce whatever that word is. But look at the depth of color. Look at how well that color is photo matched. This is absolute skill and talent. Absolutely. So full moon sock, toxic taffy, rusty anchor, and that's on a yak sock. Oh my gosh. Hollow moon, that's going to be a nice semi-solid to contrast, which like you saw on the moon sweater pattern up there, having these semi-solids is going to really make your color work sweaters or projects stand out. And look, they've even got a solid dark colorway here, Witches of Wildwood, and this is on the chunky base, but you've got your inspiration photo and then just this deep blackish gray colorway that is going to be an amazing contrast, or even just a solid dark color at all. Lacy, beautiful. The sweater is beautiful. It absolutely is. Full moon is bae, right? Full moon is, where are you, full moon? Look at you. Full, and so that's on the brushed alpaca. That's on the sock. Absolutely gorgeous colorway. Samantha, hi, welcome. Thank you for joining today. We're talking all Halloween indie dyed yarns. Welcome, Lindsay Knitwem. Thank you for joining this morning. I'm going on and on and on in love with these Halloween colorways. Oh my gourd, mini skein sock. These projects are so fun. If you are ever looking at making a project that has a ton of colors, but you don't want to buy entire hanks of a color when you only need it for a handful of rows, these mini skein sets are perfect for that. I love the idea of striping like a mini skein set with this with a solid color. So for me, I would take black, stripe the yellow, put the black back in, stripe that orange, put the black back in, stripe the green, and work my way through that mini skein set. I just love mini skeins for projects like that. And this is so fall. Oh my gourd is the perfect name for that. Lacey, someone knit me the sweater in full moon and hollow moon, please. Oh, that gray and that yellow. So I bet that's what these socks are most likely out of, right? Does it say? We used Cape May fiber sock. Oh, in southern quahog and golden seagrass. So no, they are different colorways, but I could see it, Lacey. I could see the hollow moon, or the full moon and the hollow moon working up into that sweater. Let's go pull that sweater back up. It's so moonlit romp DK, and it's DK, so it's not even going to take a million years like a fingering weight would. It'd be perfect, absolutely perfect. Samantha, how long have you been crocheting and what is everybody working on right now? Great questions. I have been crocheting since I was 9, so most of my life. All right, let's go back to, I think we got a good look at all of their Halloween yarns. And again, I have this all linked down in the description box below. Here's Witches of Wildwood on sock versus we saw it on that bulky. So it's just a nice dark bluish gray. Absolutely beautiful. Reminds me when I used to dye my hair black, I would grab the blue black. Very, very pretty. All right, let's move on. So I don't want to be here for 10 hours. I still have 4 more indie dyers to get through. Sinful Yarns, brand new to me indie dyeing company. This is their Etsy, linked down below. Yarn out of Utah. And this is the one that snagged my eye. I found this dyer on Instagram under hashtag Halloween yarn. Look at, it's a ghoul party. It's a ghoul party on DK. This is so pretty. I would love a hat, a cowl, or I would pair it with a solid for a garment, or pair it with a solid for a shawl even too. I think this would pair very well with a black, or you could even add it to a variety of solids that match those speckles that are in between. I really, really love this one. Let's go back. We've got Purple People Eater, Crunchy Leaves, a little more fall inspired than Halloween, but still a lot of times that gets lumped together. Jack-o'-lantern DK. So we're looking at another pumpkin inspired colorway. Again, just slightly different than all the other ones we've seen, right? You have orange, you've got black speckles, but this one, you've got these pops of lime green in here as well, giving it its own style and its own flavor. I think this is really, really fun. And the speckles are different than the other ones that we looked at too, right? The distance and how many, completely different. Just completely different techniques and styles. Let's see, did we get, oh, look at that. Why so serious? Well, I can see why there's only one left. That is so fun. It's almost like a half and half, a half black, half green. We have seen some colorways very similar to this, but this one has a little bit of a difference in it. That green fades to white before it touches that black. And you can see it here in this Hank. These are kind of like the details that I like to look at when I'm shopping for indie dyed yarns, because sometimes it's easy to miss in the picture, and then when you get it and you open it and you wind it and you start working with it, you're like, oh, I didn't even see this part right here. You really have to look at what is the detail and the depth of the colors when you're preparing to buy and make a project. Okay, let's keep going through Sinful Yarns. We've got 4 pages here. All right, so here's some more full moon, very gorgeous variegation of a nice gray. And then some older colorways, or not Halloween colorways. I shouldn't say older, they're just not Halloween inspired. We have Wicked Witch here, which is a very pink purple with black and gray. Avocado. I think that gives you a pretty good look at this Dyer's dye style, and you got to see some of her Halloween colorways. I will have her Instagram's linked down below as well if you want to go give Sinful Yarns a follow and check out some of their other Halloween inspired colorways. Let's see. Oh, we're catching up on everything we're working on, right? So the Lift Your Spirits MCAL and some amigurumi pandas. How cute! I'm still working on my Lift Your Spirits MCAL as well. I have plenty of time because I'm making the small size. Clue 6 doesn't come out for another 2 weeks. Lindsay, you're on row 56 of the Lift Your Spirits MCAL. Hey, not that far behind the current clue. Samantha, I've been crocheting for 4 months. Oh, so you're a brand new crocheter. Well, welcome to the crochet community. I hope you are feeling inspired by the indie dyed Halloween yarns today. Kim, waiting for the last clue from the MCAL and several shawls. I've been crocheting since I was 10 or so a long time. And Kim, it shows in your work and your experience. Definitely, I value your opinion when it comes to crochet. And I know you're waiting on that last clue because you're making the small size. Lacey, that will work up and look like watercolor painting. The yarns, they're so pretty. You can literally see the Joker in that colorway. I should probably keep up on chat when I have the yarns open. J Hook Crochet, hello everyone. Hello Reggie, thank you for joining the indie dyed Halloween yarn live stream this morning. Wicked Witch is beautiful. Yes, it was like that soft purple, and we're all caught up. All right, back to self-striping, you guys. I found another self-striping yarn company. This one's in my backyard. Look at that, Pacific Northwest Purls Co. So this company is on Etsy. I have their Etsy and their Instagram link down below, and I have to tell you, I am seriously impressed with what this company is doing, and I think you guys will be too. I haven't quite seen this done. Now, the self-striping socks, they're different striping sequence, different colors than the other company we looked at, but I want to show you, and I might actually have to go to their, I don't even have to go to their Instagram to find it. So you can see the colorways they have available here. These are all, for the most part, dyed to order. Bump in the Night, Monster Mash, It's Showtime. So It's Showtime is a Beetlejuice inspired colorway. And let's go ahead and pull that one up because I know she recently put out a call for testers not to test a pattern, but to test her yarn. I'm pretty sure it's full, but she has been experimenting with, he or she has been experimenting with different ways you can play with self-striping, dyeing self-striping yarns. So I absolutely love this Beetlejuice inspired colorway. Now let's go back. But it has something to do with this style here. This candy corn sock yarn. See how it's all white and it fades into orange and yellow super slow? So this would not pigeonhole this yarn into just knitting socks. The color change is so slow that you could use this in crochet socks or other crochet projects as well. But I'll bring this back down because I don't want to make you guys dizzy as I go look for her and that company's Instagram page. I want to show you that picture that I saw. My mind was blown. I'm like, I really hope this dyer can pull this off because, I mean, they did pull it off, but I hope it goes through testing well because it is too cool. So here we go. I've got it pulled up. Look at this sock. So this is Pacific Northwest Purls on Instagram. That sock was dyed like that. That is not color changing. I would see that and go, oh, someone had like a gradient toe and then striped black and white and then had a gradient mini for the cuff. That is all one hank of yarn. That is absolutely stunning and amazing and very creative and so freaking cool. It like you can still see that same Beetlejuice inspiration behind the colorway as well. I want those socks. Let's catch back up here. I'm on row 47, having to take it slow because of my stupid hand. I know, Lacey, I am so sorry to hear about your hand. I cannot imagine how extremely frustrating that is to have to take a rest. I hope the resting is helping and I hope your hands start to feel better soon. I wasn't kidding about my daughter wanting me to bribe you about the shawl clue. Kim, I can't give you out the clue sooner than everyone else. It's not fair. And if I put clue 6 out for the people making the small, it will spoil some of it for the large size. So everybody just has to wait. The same hand or a different entry. Oh, I'll let you guys chat about that. Love Beetlejuice, right, Reggie? It's such a great film and so inspirational when it comes to colorways. Or they, yes, I'm trying to get better about that. I am so sorry. Let's see, catch up. Oh, here we go. OMG, that's the dye job. Yeah, isn't that amazing? Kim, Lindsay says that's crazy. And you're welcome, Lacey. I feel bad about your hand. Yeah, I know, tell her that. Yeah, well, just show her this video. Say, Amanda says, sorry, but you have to wait. Stop bugging your mom. But yeah, I am super impressed with Pacific Northwest Purls dye job on this. The gradient to the striping back to a different color gradient. I absolutely love this. And if this is kind of where this company is going with the socks, imagine where that dye technique could be done for other types of projects as well. So this is their Instagram account, which is also linked down below. We'll go over to their Etsy. So that's some of the colorways that you can get on their Etsy. Frankenstein, Monster Mash, Bump in the Night, very, very Halloween, traditional Halloween inspired self-striping colorways. And they do look like they're thick enough stripes that it should definitely work on a crochet sock as well. Okay, I think I'm down to 2 indie dyers left. This one is a Yarn to Die For Designs. This is their Etsy store. So this dyer is out of Maine. And they don't have a Halloween section, but you can see some of the Halloween on the front of their page. So let's see if we can pull up some of these colors here. Reggie, are all these US located dyers? No, not all of them are. A majority of them are, but I did share a dyer who is in Europe and a dyer in Canada, and I think those were the 2 countries so far. So this one is a mostly white with just spooky patches placed throughout it, called Witches Gone Wild. And look at it all caked up. I do appreciate the different put up images of the colorway. We have it hanged, we have it caked, and we even have it knit up. Look at that. Look at that pop of orange. This is why I also really appreciate when we can get pictures of it worked up. I know it's not always in a small indie dyeing yarn company's budget to have this done, but when you can, it's super helpful. There it is, kind of swirled. It's going to show up differently than in the hank. And there it is across the different bases, which is also helpful because each base shows the dye differently. It takes the dye differently. It shows the dye differently depending on the fiber content, the blend of fiber content, the construction of the yarn, how many plies. It all will show up just a little bit different. Gamer Crafting is located in the UK. The link is in the description. Yep. On page 3, there's more. On page 3 of what? I really can't decide if I like neon colors or muted colors better. Yeah, it's a really hard one to decide. Look at this sock set. I love that there is a photo of the sock made up with the set. This is that micro striping kind of colorway. It's not a self-striped one, but it works up striping because of the way that it's dyed. Absolutely love this. I think for the most part, these micro striped dyed styles don't always translate to crochet. It might be a little more difficult if you were making maybe a single crochet sock. You might get something similar, but it might just take a little bit too much yarn and you'll get more of a swirly pooling effect versus the full stripes. But I really like how that pop of orange in that sock matches the mini. How cool is that? And there it is, all caked up. Witches Gone Wild looks like watercolors. It really did. I love that dye style. I really like pairing those with solids as well. That sock looks like fall leaves, doesn't it? A yarn to dye for designs, page 3, there's more. Right, okay, so let's go back because we're still on a yarn to dye for. Yeah, so this is a yarn to dye for's designs. So we looked at Witches Gone Wild. We've got Twisted Candy Corn here, which is a very highlighter yellow with the bright highlighter orange and some fluorescent purple on more of a white base. We looked at the sock. This is why this company grabbed my eye. I found this picture on Instagram and immediately was in love. Look at this one. This is my worst nightmare sock set. And I just love the way the speckles look. I think this is speckle perfection. Confetti, pumpkin confetti perfection. Here it is all caked up. Now, one mini is not necessarily going to be enough for you for crochet socks, but it does work for knit socks. But you know, it's one of those things where you may be able to reach out to the dyer and see if you can custom order an extra mini so that you can crochet with them. Depending on the company, they may be able to work that out for you. Let's keep going through. All the Halloween colorways are kind of mixed into the current collection of colorways. But I do see a giant pumpkin in that photo, and it looks like there's several pages for this company. So you could really go down the wormhole. We'll look at this one before we move on to the last dyer that I wanted to share. So this one, hey dude, it's Halloween. I feel like this quote has to have come from a movie. I don't know. Maybe you know. Shout it out down below. You see that Worst Nightmare was catching my eye too, Lord. It's beautiful. Yeah, that one is my favorite from this company for their Halloween yarns this year, for sure. This one looks like straight up like candy, trick or treat candy with just that fun Halloween green. Here is the yarns caked up. And this is another sock set. I do really appreciate how well that green matches the variegated color, that green inside the color. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I have the link down below. You guys can continue going through the rest of their pages. I should have split up today's live into 2 lives so we could really look at every single colorway for every single dyer, but I didn't expect it to go on this long. So the last indie dyer that I found that I wanted to share that has gorgeous Halloween colorways is the Sheepy Shire, and this is a dyer in Pennsylvania. And look at that. Again, the same colors that we've been seeing in a completely different way. Green, purple, and gray, different shades, different dye technique. I just love seeing each individual dyer's style. And this is Witching Hour. Absolutely gorgeous. And this is a fun one where you get to select your own base. So that looks like, it doesn't say dye to order, but sometimes that is the case. So you'll definitely have to, does it say? Hmm. Most yarns are ready to ship, but those that need to be dyed will be sent out within 5 days. So there's not a way to know if it's in stock or not, but it looks like the turnaround time is super quick. Look at this mini skein set. This is right up my alley when it comes to mini skein sets. Again, I would probably get a solid black and stripe this for a project. Halloween inspired shawl, a Halloween inspired cardigan, even a hat would be really fun. Just taking something like a black and striping these brighter colors throughout, or you could even do white, do completely opposite. Look at that gray. Can you make that bigger? That gray has speckles of green, purple, and orange on it. That is not easy to do. Like, I've dyed enough yarn to know that is not an easy thing to do. It definitely takes time, skill, and experience to be able to create these types of colorways. Some people have some real talent for colors and color combos. They really do. It's not my specialty, which is why I am not a yarn dyer. The one on the second row, first yarn looks like tiger stripes. This one. And whoa, that's a great mini set. The color play is intense for minis. Nice. It really is. This is a really, really pretty colorway. This one is Pumpkin Latte. Now, we saw another Pumpkin Latte earlier today. I want to say Mesa Skeins Pumpkin Latte. Completely different. The colors here are more separated, where her colorways were a little, or her colors were a little more blended in the hank. The speckles here are fewer and bigger, where hers were more frequent and smaller. So, I mean, just the style from dyer to dyer, like very, very heavily varies. And it really is an art. It really is an art. Absolutely gorgeous. And look at that on that single ply, the way that takes that yarn. Super, super pretty. Oh, so this Witching Hour is the yarn of the month. How cool is that? I want to say the description said it was on sale while it's the yarn of the month. So I would definitely recommend heading on over to the Sheepy Shire's Instagram page. It's linked down below. Give them a follow at a bare minimum. And there, I bet it says on there what kind of sale is going on. the way these are all listed, the colorway doesn't come first. So it's hard to tell if it's specifically a Halloween inspired colorway. This is Ghost. So it is. Look at that. This is the MCN DK yarn lot selection. They've got dye lots, you guys. What? That is not very common, but how cool is that? So if you are familiar with ordering indie dyed yarns, you know that they're usually dyed in small batches and there's not usually lots associated with them, because even then there's so much variation from one hank to another depending on the dye style that you have to work with them a little more differently when you're using more than one hank in a project. You either expect there to be a big difference, or you can alternate every other row. When you're striping, like when you're working a solid, you can stripe two hanks as if you were making something striped to help them blend together. So you know that you're not going to end up with a harsh difference between the two hanks. But look at this. They have dye lots, which means that they probably have a little more of an in-depth process when it comes to dyeing yarns that will work together well in larger projects. That is even more skill and experience. Lacey says, Empty Lots wants to be fingerless mitts. Ooh, I could definitely see that. Ghost wants to be Lift Your Spirits shawl. This would make a really pretty Lift Your Spirits shawl, especially because those speckles are so few and so light. It's not going to really pull away from the design too much. I've seen some people's shawls that look similar, like their colors that they chose are similar to this one, and it's still working up beautifully. Hello, Lauren. Thanks for joining the live. That ghost yarn would be great for the MCAL, right? You guys, you and Lacey are on it. You already know. It really would be. That's a look at. Okay, can we just real quick though? Let's look at the ghost on the alpaca. I have been obsessed with working with yarns with halos lately. It's mostly been mohair silk blends, but Surrey alpaca is a different breed of alpaca, and its fiber behaves more like mohairs than it does like Wakaya alpaca, the other alpaca. You get this gorgeous fuzz. Now I kind of want to lift your spirits that's got this held with just a solid white. I feel like that would be so fun. And the Surrey alpaca is so warm. The Surrey alpaca in silk. Oh, I love it. Okay, I just had to look at that for me. Sorry. All right, so we've got some other colorways here, and there's a really good chance that these ones on top are probably Halloween inspired, even though I can't see their name. Cosmic Stardust. So not Halloween inspired, but beautiful nonetheless. So, and there's probably, yeah, look at that, over 10 pages to view of the Sheepy Shire yarns. So definitely, you guys, check out the links in the description of this video and go at least give some following love to the indie dyers that I shared today. I wish I could have shared even more. Maybe I'll have to do another one of these sharing indie dyers. Other ones that I found that are also outside of the United States, because I only shared the two outside the United States today, and there was an Australian dyer that I wanted to throw up on here, but I already had so many dyers to share today. I was a little worried about getting through them all. Real quick before we end the live stream, I do have some spoiler photos to share from last week. I missed last week's live. I was so upset about this because I was super excited to, oops, we don't want to do that yet. I was super excited to interview Jean of Bead Biz. We had a whole demo that we were going to be doing, as well as the giveaway, and with my power being out and then their show season being so busy, it just didn't get to happen. But I had posted in our Facebook group to see if I could share some of your photos, and I still have that presentation ready to share. So if you're not in the Facebook group and you haven't seen the Lift Your Spirits Mystery Crochet Along progress photos, I'm going to be sharing photos from the group that have been through clue 3. No, now they're not all the way through clue 3. It just was from week 3. So let's share that. I went into present mode and maybe it's because it's the tab. Let's hold on, you guys. I'm not used to sharing my window. I usually just share a tab, which is why I'm able to see you all because I'm working on my laptop. There we go. Just share the one tab. So when I hit present, it doesn't actually present to my whole computer so that I can still see you guys in your comments. There we go. So we're gonna run through some of these photos and then we will call it a day. Now, is that flashing orange for you guys? I had this happen to me last time on my end, but you all said it was fine. So if it's flashing or if it's showing orange, definitely let me know. So this is Mandy V's progress from the Facebook group. And then we've got, this one's Crystal A, who's at No Orange Looks Great. Thank you, Lacey. At Fontiwa. I love how some of you are changing the weight of the yarn, changing the colors of the yarn, and really making this pattern your own. You can see she's made it almost through the full, complete ghosts. This is Maud's shawl progress back from week 3. Now I love the Purl beads that she's adding to her pattern. In my original, I used the Colorline glow in the dark beads, so they don't show up quite as much as hers do, but her shawl looks very much like mine, you guys. So much like mine. I cannot wait until we get all the way through Clue 6 and you guys can see this full pattern in its glory. I absolutely love it so much. Look at this spooky ghost face. Her photography is beautiful too. Thank you for sharing, Maud. Lacey says, Mandy V is using almost the same color as me. Yes, I noticed that. It's a gorgeous color. Here is Callie's, and I tried to get her glow-in-the-dark picture to show up on here too, but it's kind of hard. Taking pictures of glow-in-the-dark beads is extremely difficult. So this is Callie's progress of the shawl so far. You can see she's just about as far as the other two. Clue 3 takes you through the end of the ghosts, and I don't think the had been out very long, so a lot of the progress photos aren't all the way through Clue 3 yet. But I love this so much. And all of the tips in the group about taking glow-in-the-dark photos have been super helpful because I have to figure out how to get glow-in-the-dark photos of my final shawl when I'm ready to fully release the pattern in its entirety versus its clue form. Kim, who's here today? Here is her progress. So this is, we are stalled. This is the end of Clue 1, and she's using Lion brand Kobu, right? Kobu Sparkle. It's not True Boo. I'm pretty sure it's Kobu Sparkle. And it's going to be the perfect size. I am really excited to see how this turns out. Once Clue 6 comes out, I like, your daughter is going to love this so much. I kind of wish I was making my small size out of DK now, and I'm probably just going to end up doing that because it gives you an in-between size, an in-between the small and the large, just by going up. Instead of using a fingering weight, use a DK weight with a larger hook. It's gorgeous. And then here is Kim's, who's at kpinty on Instagram. And look at that. I love that she used white for the contrast for the beads. And I think the colorway is beautiful. You can tell she's using hand-dyed yards here. So, so pretty. And Amy, look at this, a striped ghosties. I love this so much. So some people have been using those cakes, like a Karen cake or a Bernat cake, a mandala, and they're getting these large shawls because they're using a heavier weight yarn. And I love the way that it's striping. And what's really fun is you can still see the ghosts, but you don't notice them necessarily right away. So when Amy wears her shawl, it's going to scream Halloween with that orange, purple, yellow, black. And then you're going to be like, wait, is that a hole? That's a ghost. So I think this is a really cool and a fun way you can change up the pattern. Okay, True Blue Sparkle. Okay, so let me catch up here. Mandy, so I caught that one. Lacey says ghosties. And Tim's shawl is True Blue Sparkle. See, I couldn't remember if it's Kobu or True Blue. True Blue Sparkle. Lacey, so good, Kim. Yeah, your shawl is absolutely gorgeous. Such a pretty combination of colors. I love, if you guys are, even if you're not doing the crochet along, I've got a link down below to the Facebook group, even just to come in there and see everybody's progress. It is beautiful and very inspiring. Everybody is making it their own, and I absolutely love it. OMG, it's so Halloween, right? This screams Halloween. There are even people making blankets. I think I've mentioned that before. Some people have added 2 more sections and turned it into a straight up blanket, and I'm really excited to see this shawl as a blanket instead. The creativity in the Facebook group is through the roof. It really is. It really is. What an amazing group of people, and you guys are so helpful. I really appreciate everyone that can jump in and answer questions before I get a chance to get in there and answer them. So here's Manda BE. So I didn't put her whole last name, but we have 2 Manda B's. This is Manda BE, not Manda BA. So here is her shawl progress. She's using a beautiful white fingering weight yarn. This pattern is gorgeous just in its white too. So you really can make it your own, make it fit your wardrobe, and make it spooky. And here is Jan's picture. So this is back from September 15th. It's about the time that I asked if people would drop photos that they wouldn't mind me sharing on YouTube. And look at those glow-in-the-dark beads. I love it so much. She's using a little more variegated of a colorway like my original sample, which I can't share you guys. I can't share with you guys because it's done. But I love it so much. It's definitely that ghosty, smoky, spooky vibes. And that is all of the photos that I had from the Facebook group to share. I am so sorry I went on and on and on today about Halloween yarns, but I know that you're not super surprised that I did that. I still have 2 more lives left, 2 more clues, 2 more lives for this crochet along. So if you guys have any ideas on what you want to chat about for the next 2 Saturdays, definitely reach out and let me know. I've roughly got planned crochet patterns that include beads because this is a beaded shawl. I'd like to share some love for some other crochet patterns that use beads. And then the other possible topic is crochet patterns that do some kind of lace work or fillet style type crochet because of the way the ghosts are created in this shawl. It would be fun to highlight some patterns that use that kind of style as well. Both of those topics are shawl related and not so Halloween related. So, you know, definitely let me know if you would rather stay Halloween or if you want to go crochet shawl topic instead. And of course, we can find some more Halloween yarns to talk about too if you'd like instead. It's still early enough in the season. We can share. It's plenty of time to buy and work with before spooky season is over, even though I know a lot of you that are like me, spooky season doesn't end in October. But yeah, just let me know your opinions. Let's catch up in the chat before we close things out. Lacey said the blue is gorgeous. I know you're talking about the One Lift Your Spirit shawl. I really love the blue that she chose. Oh, I'm out of order here. Jan's colorway is perfect. The ghosty, smoky colorway, absolutely. I'm sorry we kept you so long, but I really enjoyed today's live. I am not surprised you enjoyed the live, Lacey. I know you are all about indie dyed yarn just like me. I hope that everything turned out okay. I wasn't sure the best way to share this style of a topic, so I hope that it worked well. Great topic. Thank you. Yes, more Halloween, please. Yeah, maybe we do need to just stick to Halloween. You know, I might be able to do another Halloween crochet patterns, like a part 2, and then a Halloween indie dyed yarn part 2, and that could close us out because there were more Halloween patterns and there are definitely more Halloween yarns. If you have suggestions for either of the 2 that you want me to share, you can either comment in this video, you can email me at info@mandobug.com, or drop them in the Facebook group. But I'm going to go ahead and close things out because I'm way over my usual time. Thank you guys so much for joining me live. I had a blast as always. And until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye.